Okay, I got this. I had a student ask a question on how to solve this problem. It's a production and operations problem, and I got it from chapter 7 out of this textbook published by McGraw-Hill, Operations and Supply Chain Management from by Stevenson and Call. Very good reference textbook if you're looking for a good reference textbook on production and operations. So what this problem is you have these random numbers. I'll let you, if you want to, you can pause and read the whole problem, but I'm just gonna explain it real quick. So we have these random numbers, and we're trying to use these random numbers in order to pick random times that I'm going to take a sample from a production line, like a quality control sample. All right. Um, so you could do it with your eyes, but I'm going to try to show you how you could do it with Excel. And the reason I thought it might be a good problem to do is because I wanted to demonstrate how you can just kind of do really complicated things just by taking them step by step and wrapping the next thing you do in an additional function. Okay, so so to begin with, we can save a lot of time by these numbers here. Instead of typing them, I can use I can put them to the clip. I can copy them to my clipboard and have Excel use optical character recognition on. So in order to do that, I have to do a screenshot. So the way I usually do a screenshot on a Windows computer is I hit the Window key, hold down the Shift key, and then hit the S key as in Sam. And we're going to highlight just these numbers. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Data. Oh, let me hit Escape. We go here. Let's try it again. I don't know what happened, but we're just going to go here and we're going to go to Data and then from Picture, from Clipboard. And over here is looking at that picture and it's trying to do optical character recognition. And usually I just take what it took. So I'll go Insert anyway. Okay, so it gave me a problem. So let me try it again because maybe I didn't get a very good screenshot. So I'm going to go Control Z. Let me try one more time. Window, Shift, S, and Sam. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Let's just see. Make sure I probably missed some things on it. We'll just get just like that. And again, we'll go from Picture, from Clipboard. See if it does a better job. I maybe didn't pick the window very well. And okay, so it looks like it just didn't get these. I can go 1, 2, drag them down, right? It didn't do very good along the left side. So we'll just put them in there the way we saw them. And then everything else looks like it did pretty good. It dropped, and so it dropped the leading 0 on these, but we'll deal with that in a little bit. But that saved us a little bit of work, all right? And what do we want to find? Well, just to save us time, I have it over here, and I'll just copy and paste it in here. I'm going to reproduce this right here. So we want to find wherever there's a question mark here, right? So we want to find what day and time, or we could say what day and hour do I want to take each of my 10 samples, right? So if you read the problem, it basically this is what it's looking for. It's looking for it's over 40 days between 4 and 6, or 4 and 5 and 6:59, and we want 10 observations. So I like to have that in my given too. All right, so let's go ahead and I'm going to move this aside and we'll work with part A. So part A, it says we want to read 2-digit numbers going down the first two digits of the column, and then down the second 2 digits of the column. So it says 2805, so it's 28. Remember, there's a 0 missing here. 05, 27, and so on. When it finishes that, go to 1175. So it wants a list of numbers out of this column. Okay, so one way you could do that is I could name that. I could highlight this, and then I already named it CLMN3 and then hit enter, right? So the way you can deal with names, if we go here into formulas and then go into name manager, you can see I have a couple things. Let me just delete both of these and then I'll show you how to do that. So delete them. And then let me just show you how to name them. So you're going to highlight it. And then up here, I'm just going to click here. I'm going to type CLMN3 for column 3 and then hit enter. So now, anywhere I'm at now, I use it in a formula, I can go CLMN3 and I'll get it. Okay? So now what I'll do is I'm going to say, so we're going to pick the first two digits, and the best way to pick the first two characters in Excel that I can think of is to change it to text. So I'm going to say equals text, and we'll go CLMN3 because that's those numbers. And then the format I want is I want it 00000, and then I want to do it just like that. And that makes it 4 digits with no decimal places or anything. And that'll give us back our leading zeros too. So you can see now we have the 0575 like we had over here. So now I've made it into text. And then the next thing I want to do is I want to get the first two digits on the left. So I can go here, left of that text. And then how many characters do I want? I want two of them. It says the number, see down below here, the number of characters is 2. And I close it. And it gets the next, so it just gets the left ones, right? So, see how it gets the first two characters on the left? But I want to have the right too, so I can use something called VStack. So go VStack. And then what I can do is I can highlight this just to save myself some typing. And I go right click, copy. Oop, let me hit escape. Try that again, VStack. Probably it's better to highlight it first to save yourself typing. So I'm going to go Control C, I guess, this time instead. And then I'll go VStack. And then I'm going to go to the end and then comma and then place that formula again. But the thing we want to do here is we want to get the left 2, we want to get the right 2. So I'm going to change this to right. And now I've stacked them on top of each other. VStack stands for vertical stack. Now you can see that I have, so these days I can only have 40 days. So the 73 won't count, the 99. So I got to drop all the days that I can't use because I'm not going to be using the 99th day. So I can use something called a filter. But in order to do a filter, I got to change it from text back to numbers because I got to do math on it. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to go value to change it back to number. And then go to the end and put a parentheses. And now I change it to the numbers. You can tell it went from text to numbers because it went to the right-hand side. Okay? Before it was on the left-hand side, numbers kind of go over to the right, and it dropped that 0 too, didn't it? So now I can filter it, but before I filter it, I want to save myself a lot of typing, so I'm going to highlight all this again. I'm going to go Control C. And then I'm going to go in here, I'm going to go filter. And I'm going to go to the end. And what do I want to filter? I want to filter this where it's less than or equal to these 40 days we have right here. I'm going to close the parentheses, and it gives me the observations, right? But if you look at it, it gives us 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It gives us 11 observations. We only want 10, right? So I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to go into the front, and I'm going to go take, and I want to take 10 rows. I want to take 10 observations out of those numbers, and then close the parentheses. You can see now it dropped that last one. So now we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let me put the formula in here for you, just so you see it. So see how we did it step by step? It seems real complicated, but step by step, you can put that in there. You can check it as you go. So now we're going to do hours, right? So what I'll do is I'm going to go here. So I have to get, let's just name this something. Maybe we just name this hours. So I'll go up here and call hours. So now whenever I use hours, it'll automatically highlight that because it's saying to use columns row 11 and 12. This is row 11, this is row 12. So I'm calling those hours because we're going to try to get the hours. And we want to get 1 digit. So it's going to go 0, 5, 3, 8, all the way across. And then if I run out of that row, then I'm going to run across to row 12. So this is actually a little bit more complicated. So what I want to do is first, again, we're going to go equals text. We want to change it to text so we can pick some characters. And what do we want? We want hours. And then again, we're going to put it in 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 format. And now you can see that we've moved it. See how this over to the left now. So we know I have this text. It added a leading 0. So now we got to pick these characters out of the text. And so So, but before we pick the characters, um, I think it might be best to put them in columns first. Okay. So um, so what I'm gonna do, we're gonna go text, and then before we're gonna put it in columns right here. So I'm gonna go to call hours, and now I put each one of those up and down, right? So now what we're gonna do, we want to pick each character, right? So that to column actually is, it's just a way to flip it, right? To put them all in columns. It's kind of like VStack, very similar, but it's flipped in the way that I wanted it to, right? So so the next thing we want to do is we want to pick each character, right? So there's something used called that we can, some of the characters in the middle. So I'm just going to use mid throughout the whole thing. So I'm going to say equals mid of that text, and then I want the first character. See, it says a start number, so I want to start with the first character, and I want one character long because we're going to pick one-digit characters. So if I do that, it's just going to give me the first character of each one of these. So you can see this is 0, 1, 2, 4, 0, 1, 2, 4. And then, so we got the first character, but now we got to add the rest of them together, right? So we could H stack it again, so we can stack it horizontally. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this first. I go copy. I can go Control C if I want, and I'm going to go H stack. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this in here 4 times. Control V, Control V, Control V, and close the parentheses. Save myself some typing. So I want this. Then all I have to do is I go in here and I can change this to the second. I want to start at the second character, and then I get one character long, and then I want to start at the third character, one character long, and then at the fourth character, one character long. So now I've stacked it that way, and then but now we still want to put it into a column again, right? Now we separate it and we want to put it into a column again. So I'll also use to column again. I go to the front of this, and I go to column. And now it's stacked up 0, 5, 3, 8, and you can see it starts 0, 5, 3, 8, and the next one is 1, 6, 4, 0, 1, 6, 4, 0. So now we've stacked them every character. You can see we're kind of getting there. So now what we got to do, now we want to remember we only want between the hours of 4 and 6. So I can only use the numbers 4, 5, and 6. So I have to filter it again. So I'm going to filter it. We know we need to get the value because these are just, we already changed them to text. So I got to go value, put a parentheses, hit the end key, go to the end, and then I have the value. So you can see it changed it to a value by going to the right. And then, so now I'm going to filter it. So I have to copy all this. I'm going to highlight it all and go Control C. And then I hit escape. And then let's put a filter in the front. And this filter is a little bit more complicated. So I'm going to go to the end over here. And I'm going to paste that in where that whole thing is less than or equal to 6, right? Now, I'm going to have to filter twice because I also have to do where it's greater than equal to 6. So I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to put a parentheses right here in the beginning, and then put another parentheses in the end. And then I'm going to take it times parentheses. I'm going to paste that formula in. So one was greater, less than or equal, and so now it's going to be greater than or equal to the 4. And then I'm going to close the parentheses on that, and then close the parentheses on the whole formula. So what it does, if it's less than or equal to 6, it's going to put a 1 here. So if it was 7, this would be a 0, and then if it greater than equal 4, it would be a 1, because that would be true. 0 times 1 would be 0, so that would not, everyone it wants, it does like an index and marks it as 1. So it has to be both less than or equal to 6 and greater than or equal to 4, because 1 times 1 is 1, and that'll index that number as 1. And that's kind of how that works. So then I hit enter, and now you can see that it just got 5, 6, 4, just that. And then one last thing, this has got more than 10 observations. So I want to go here. One last thing, I want to go take, and then go way to the end over here. And I want to take the first 10 observations, right? Enter. Oh, I forgot to close the parentheses. I'll just accept what it figured it out for me. And so I put that parentheses there for me. And let me put the formula here. That was quite a long formula, wasn't it? So I just did it one at a time and put it in there. So now we've got that. So the last thing we want is we don't have to do it. They gave it to us, but let's just go ahead and do it anyway. We want C. They gave us this in the answer right here, but we'll just see if we'll do the same thing just to make sure it works. So now we want, for minutes, we want to read the 2 digits going down. So that actually kind of sounds like this function here. So let me go copy it down. And so what's the problem? Okay, well, the problem is for minutes, it's not going to, we don't want J27, right? We want less than 59 minutes. Hold on, let me just make sure. For the value, no, we want this L5 right here. Got less than 59. And then this J30, we want it to go to, we want 10 observations, right? Now the other thing it says you want to start the last 2 digits. So this first one is going to be, I'm going to go right. You want to do this first, and then we want to do left second, right? So I'm going to change that to left. And then this is going to be right. It wants you to go over the right-hand side first, if you read it real careful. And then this, it wants you to go to the left. So we have to do it a little bit different. And then we get those numbers, right? So you can see those are all between 0 and 59. And we've got 10 of them, right? So now the last thing we want to do is we want to fill this in. So I'm going to take this and copy it down and paste it here. And let me just get rid of these things here because we'll put the numbers in. Let me go ahead and delete. And so it was day, and then hour, and then second, right? No, hour, and then minute. And I can go here, and I can go equal sort by. And I want to sort. Okay, so let me just explain what I'm going to do here. So first I have to stack them all together, right? So let me check my notes just to make sure I don't confuse you guys. I don't want to make a mistake and confuse you, so I'm just going to look at my notes here. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to stack them together. So I'm going to go equals H stack, and I want to stack A, comma, and the B's, and then comma, then the C's. And you can see since that's a spilled array, it just takes the first one of them. So I could have just typed A30, A42, and A54. So now I stacked them together. And now I want to sort them. So I'm going to say sort by. And it says, the last thing it says, by the way, is arrange your times chronologically by day, then hour, then by minute. So I got to first sort by day, and then I got to sort by hour, and then sort by minute. So that's why I'm going to use this sort by. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to wrap this H stack into sort by. So I want to sort this. And first I want to sort it by the days. And I have to put a 1 in there. So I'm going to go comma 1 to say sort ascending. And then I want to sort it by the minutes. And I got to put a 1 to sort it descending. And then, and then I got to put a comma. And then I want to sort it by that, comma 1. And then close it. And hopefully that'll work. And let's just double check. See if this is the same answer. This was our answers. Let me highlight it yellow. And it looks like it got, this already was in the answer, right? But it looks like it got the rest correct, right? So it worked. All right, so that's an interesting way to do it. Now, one thing I wanted to show you something, another interesting thing, if I wanted to replicate this list of random numbers, I could go over here and I can say equals randarray. And then I could go, well, how many rows is this? 12 rows, 6 columns. The minimum is 0. And the max is 9999. And do I want an integer? Yes, I want integers. And I could generate my own random numbers. Now these are semi-random. So every time I hit F9, it'll be another random number table like this, right? So I could generate my own random number tables. Now, the reason I call it semi-random is because Excel has to use some type of algorithm to generate those numbers. So it's not really random. I might call it pseudo-random. But it's probably random enough for our case. In fact, I could even generate some of these random, the random numbers down here. I could go, I could make my own. Just let me copy this. What I could do, let me get rid of this. Let me just get rid of all the coloring on it. So if I just want to do days between 0 and 40, I can so equals randarray. And then I want 10 rows, 1 column, 0, 40, and then an integer true. And I could make my own random, I could do, this would be almost as good as this, right? So I could directly generate it. And here I could go equals randarray. So I would probably do it this way rather than the way the book shows you. So again, we're going to go 10 rows, 1 column. The minimum is 0, and the maximum is, the minimum was what? It was supposed to be 4, 5, or 6. Minimum is 4. The maximum is 6. Integer true, and it gives me that. And we could do the minutes. So you go equals randarray. And then we can go 10 observations, 1 column. The minimum is 0. The maximum is 59. Integer is true. So we generated our own. Now every time I hit F9, it's going to give me different ones. But that's also a good way to take a random sample. Okay? So hopefully that was interesting. I know I covered a lot in 22 minutes, but I just wanted to demonstrate how you can take things a step at a time. You can do some pretty fancy things, right? So anyway, that's it for today. If you like this video, my picture will come up. If you picked on my picture, you could subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel. Give me any comments if you like it. Thanks for watching. Bye.